We're live. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Indie Volt Livewire.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yep.
Woo!
Let's
go.
3 pretty good rocking guests, and as soon as I find the intro video, I'm going to roll it, and
Don't worry, you got this, Eric.
we'll get rocking and rolling.
If you can't get the indie video to roll, Russell will do his own personal dance interpretation of it.
True. You know, I've been doing a lot of these things. That's really exciting. I get really pumped now when people play their intro music because it's all so good.
Well, here we go.
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands over there.
The following program contains violence, disturbing imagery, nudity, and, oh my god, why are you even watching this? Just run away. This shit is going to give you nightmares. For real. The program is rated TV MA NSFW OMFG GAF TTV BYGAS. Why are you still here? Seriously, don't watch this. We can't warn you strongly enough. Do you need a doctor of some kind? What is the matter with you?
No difference is near. It's a revolt. The masses will hear. In the vault, let the people hear. It's in the vault. The vault starts here.
Hello.
There we
Welcome
go.
to Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Indie Volt Livewire. Good to be with you. Glad everybody's with us. I'm Eric Hodson, Dreaded Dinosaur, sitting in here, and next to me is Indie Princess. How you doing this evening?
I am doing all right.
Excellent. Matt?
Hey, what's going on, Eric? Glad you guys have me on here tonight. Thanks again, Eric and Lola. Hope that everything is going well in your lives.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Tyler.
What's up, man? I finally made it on. You message me every Tuesday, like, is this the one? I made sure not to do a live show today so I could come on here. So I'm grateful.
Well, yeah, glad you could be here. And Russell.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me on here. I'm excited. That just like I said before, now I'm pumped because I heard the intro music. And so, I'm ready to rock and roll now.
Yeah, there's such a good conversation before. I'm like, oh, wait, we're supposed to have gone live a few minutes ago. Anyway, what do we have any questions tonight, Lola?
As far as I know, no.
All right.
But if I get some, I will let you know.
Let's jump right into our campaigns then. Let's see, I'm going to bring up there's the window. Click the share button. Make sure audio is selected. Alrighty.
Oh, yeah, I know that campaign. So this is Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, Book 1. This is the campaign that Steph Can and I have going on right now. We just clicked over to 4 days left. This thing ends on Sunday. We are only $187, doing math in my head, $187 away from our next stretch goal, which is where steampunk comics and metal collide, which is not how you would normally think. Normally, we're talking about our comics, the way we dress, and the music, but there's a different way we're going to be dealing with it this time. This is an apocalyptic sci-fi story set in a steampunk world. The way we have constructed this thing, it is designed to be its own standalone story arc, although it does build on the story arcs that were previously there. We like to say if you don't have to be a fan of all the other Star Wars movies to go and like The Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett. But if you have seen all of them, you get all the little Easter eggs and all the extra little things that are in there. Every story starts somewhere, and every story has things that happen before it. We try to make sure that if somebody wants to jump in right now into the Heirs of Isildur universe, they can pick up this book and they can feel like they've got the whole story and they're not missing anything.
Sweet. Well, let's jump into the trailer here.
Sounds good.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon from Symmetry Creations. There's not much time. We've got some important information for you.
We've got to tell you about our brand new Kickstarter campaign for Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects.
This 48-page Perfect Bound book is the first part of an apocalyptic sci-fi story arc set in a steampunk world.
The apocalypse is rumbling through Shadow's Haven, and the only way to stop it might be through those who mistakenly caused it.
We are super excited to be able to unveil to you our brand new art team of Alessandro Ventura and Bruno Hang, who have helped to bring the universe of Heirs of Isildur up to the next level.
We've got super cool variant covers and glow-in-the-dark stickers.
And don't forget the cool shirts.
And as always,
A few fun surprises!
the campaign portal will only be open for a very short time.
So go to the quick link that's down below and back, follow, and share.
We here at Symmetry Creations,
The imperiled citizens of Shadow's Haven
and the Heirs of Isildur
will greatly appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Matt. That made me really want to go and redo my video right now.
Hey, if I can inspire you, then I feel like I've done my job.
Real
Let's hope
quick,
Tyler's
guys,
next.
I do want to give a shout out to all of my college classmates from both my classes. I've been using Indievolt as a reference and posting links and for our discussions and stuff in there, and they're supposed to be tuning in tonight, so we'll see.
So what are their names? So if they tune in, if we see them in the chat, do we have to give a big, hip hop hooray for them?
I don't know other names, I'm sorry.
All right, so we're
'Cause
just
we
going to
do-
pretend if somebody that we don't know comes in the chat, we're going to pretend it's one of them and give them the chat. Give them
I'm on online classes, and
okay.
so they're big classes. Like some of my classes were like 90 people, 100 people, larger. So yeah.
So as you can see here, Erica's scrolling through the campaign. One of the things you'll probably notice in here, we've gone a lot more traditional in the way that we're presenting this. The art is so fantastic from Alessandro and Bruno. We're definitely much more traditional lettering. That's not something we've done previously. And that was all me. Steph always wanted to be more traditional in the lettering style. And I basically just had to give in this time because I didn't want to get in the way of the art that Alessandro and Bruno have been doing. Inside the video, we have 5 different covers. We've got 2 from Bruno and Alessandro. Chris Rao from Magnus did a really cool Metalocalypse homage cover. We always love having homages. We've done Garbage Pail Kids and Incredible Hulk. This time we did Metalocalypse. We did a reverse sketch cover this time because everybody does white sketch covers. We're doing a matte black sketch cover so that way artists that draw on it have to draw in paint pens or whatever kind of other item to show, so that way there's a uniqueness to it. We've got the foil shirts that we talked about before. We've got crazy socks that we're getting printed up. We had socks printed up for our last campaign for Misfits Clubhouse, and they came out really good, so we decided to do them for this campaign as well. And we do have the custom leatherwork from GB Leatherworks again. They're actually going to be stamped with our Times Have Changed 13 o'clock logo, but they made Michael's Traveler's Pouch, which, as you know, with our leatherwork, we always try to be very meta with it. So if you're getting it, you're probably going to see it at some point in the story. Doesn't mean you're going to see it in this issue, but you're definitely going to see that, and it's definitely going to play a part at some point. So we'd like to have things in the issue actually come out and be a part of the real world and kind of, blur the lines between fantasy and reality in that way.
Awesome. Yeah, the leatherwork. Yeah, the last time you were on, that was really cool. It's just beautiful work and looks and stuff there.
I definitely appreciate it. We have some more stuff that's going to be planned for later issues in the series. Well, there's stuff we wanted to do right now, but we're like, no, that's not coming until 2 issues from now. So we had to hold that stuff back, even though we really wanted to do it. It's going to be super cool. But that Traveler's Pouch is one of my favorite things that these guys have made, obviously outside of the big, gigantic leather dragon mask. But these things are a lot more practical. If you're a cosplayer or somebody who wants to do steampunk or somebody who just wants a D&D dice bag, this is a lot more practical than a full-size dragon mask.
Yeah. So, guys, you saw the trailer. You heard straight from the horse's mouth. Steampunk Apocalypse. Check it out. It is on Kickstarter. There's plenty of really good reward tiers, PDF tiers, as well as the print tiers. Something for just about every single budget, I think. And 4 days to go.
Sounds good. Yeah, I hope you guys will come and check it out. Like I said, we got $187 till we get to the next stretch goal. We have a couple cool things planned there, and then we have things planned for after that too. So if we get to 7,000, we're not going to be ending there. We're hopefully going to be able to push on to the next one before the campaign ends at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday.
You and Steph have a really good working relationship, Matt. I think that's so cool.
It's definitely, I appreciate that, and I'm sure she does too. It definitely is good when you've got somebody that thinks with the same creative mind that you do, and we definitely help keep each other balanced in that respect. So I appreciate that.
Got a few people out there in the chat. Naomi.
What's up, Naomi?
Indie Wrestling, and of course, Pops all checking in. And we have been joined by Joseph. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hi. Sorry I'm a little late there. My wife had to stay late. Nobody watched the kids. But anyway, so our Kickstarter now is called Two White Tales Magazine. It's a black and white horror collection in the tradition of the Warren Publishing magazines of the 1970s.
Sweet. Awesome. Can't wait to that. Let's see. Let's take a look.
And the URL is twowhitetails.com.
Sweet. Let's see. Which one is this? And share. Okay. Cthulhu is hard to spell.
That's
All
my
right,
book.
let's see that trailer, Russell.
I know it's gonna blow you away after Matt's.
Hey, you know what though? I would trade my campaign video for your campaign performance any day, man.
Hi, I'm USA Today bestselling author Russell Nolte, creator of all of this stuff. But today, I'm here to tell you about the third and final volume of my Cthulhu is Hard to Spell anthology series, Battle Royale. Cthulhu is Hard to Spell is my most popular series, and the third volume is just as incredible as the first two. Cthulhu is Hard to Spell Battle Royale features 34 stories from over 70 creators, telling tales about the gods and monsters of the Lovecraft universe. Stories range from cute to scary and everything in between, and just like the first two volumes, Battle Royale is all ages appropriate, meaning you can share it with your favorite Lovecraft fan from 4 to 99. We have stories from creators who worked for Marvel, DC, Image, Oni, and many more, along with brands like My Little Pony, Invader Zim, and Walt Disney, among others. Kickstarter is the platform that launched Cthulhu is Hard to Spell, so it's only right for us to wrap up the trilogy here as well. In all, you have helped us produce over 100 stories and nearly 500 full-color comic pages celebrating the gods and monsters of Lovecraft's universe. That's absolutely incredible. In this third volume, we also see the end of the arc that started in the first volume. In the first book, the Lovecraftian gods planned their invasion. In the second book, they invaded and took over the universe. And now in book 3, the gods of mythology team up with humanity to try and take back their universe from the Lovecraftian gods that have it in their clutches. I absolutely can't wait to share it with you. If you love the first volume, or if you're here for the first time, I think you're in for a real treat with Cthulhu is Hard to Spell Battle Royale. I hope to see you behind the backer wall.
All right.
Yeah, so actually, Matt helped influence this campaign because Matt and Steph always do this awesome music, and so we put a theme song to this to this book If you scroll down a little, you can kind of hear it in the background. But
I thought I heard that.
Yeah, there's a theme song. We wanted it to be we said Werewolf Bar Mitzvah meets Monster Mash. And I think contributor Timothy Fling and his partner Sterling did like an amazing job delivering this kind of weird feel to it. So Cthulhu is Hard to Spell is an anthology series. Each book has between 34 and 38 stories in it, ranging from 160 to 180 pages. And basically the focus is on the gods and monsters of the Lovecraft universe. So I didn't want to make just another horror anthology because like there's a million horror anthologies that deal with Lovecraft and they're all wonderful. But when we went, what I saw was the big glaring kind of hole in the mythos is actually focusing on the mythos itself and telling stories that would relate to the gods and monsters in the actual mythology. So we have everything from the origin myth to and really very Lovecraftian horror stories. We have a pin that you're seeing on the screen now. And we also have things that are ranging from cute all the way to scary. So we have like Orna Numqua in marriage counseling and Yig and Medusa summoning a demon dog and just all sorts of stuff that kind of all relate to the mythos. And what's nice is even if you pick like one of our comedy stories, generally, not all of them, but generally we try and relate them to how the actual relationship in the mythology is. So, for instance, this is James Maddox's story and Michael Maine, who did this story about the Necronomicon. It's relatively true to the actual how the Necronomicon works in the mythos. So we try to bring something for experienced Lovecraft fans to experience Lovecraft in a way that maybe never have before. But what it's really for is to show brand new people. It's for experienced fans to have something they can show to new people and indoctrinate them into that same madness, because Lovecraft is a very, very high bar to entry if you don't know, if you want to deal with the mythology, and this hopefully lowers that quite a bit.
Wow.
And you can see these are some of the people who have sent us pictures of the books. The first volume, it was our most successful campaign ever. And you can see it also behind me. These are the two books. They come in hardcover or ebook. You can get it with a pin, a special thanks, or make your own bundle of all of our books in the add-on section.
Wow. Oh, very cool. Let's see, you got 36 days to go, 426 backers, 21,981 of a pledged goal of 30,666.
And there are some bonus comics you get for backing this week. I just haven't put it up yet officially. But if you back this week, you get 5 issues of Kevin Chilcote, Haley Russell, and Andrew Morris's Lands of Tunes, which is a story inside the book. Bulletproof Chicken #1, Astounding Tales #1, a short story that contributor Nathan Luth and I did called Soccer, Schism #1, and a print based on a true story by Brett Giuliano, and a print by and a digital print by Claire Leslie of Nyarlathotep from the series. So that is all coming to you in digital free at the end of the campaign on top of your pledge, just for pledging this week. And you unlock everything else that we unlock along the way as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that got all your bases covered. And this looks beautiful. A lot of really diverse set of different artists and writers. And
thank you so much. We've been very blessed with the slate of creators. We've had amazing creators. Some of the ones that people will probably recognize. We had Paul Jenkins last time, who is a very famous Spider-Man writer. We had Ray Anthony Height from Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. We had Megan Hutchison from Will o' the Wisp. We had in this one Trina Robbins, who was the first woman to draw Wonder Woman, and David Pepos, who is the new writer on Savage Avengers and Moon Knight. So just a huge smattering of like amazing talent, and we have all sorts of creators who do everything from like horror specifically all the way to like slice of life and such.
I really do love this pen because it looks like a wrestling championship belt. So that's right up my alley.
Yeah, that was what we know. Well, wrestling and comics go together like peanut butter and chocolate.
Absolutely,
so.
Absolutely. It's helped to butter my bread for a few years.
Yeah, and there's a whole story, 12 pages that takes place in 3 different sections of the anthology. So 4 pages, 4 pages, and 4 pages. That is a wrestling match between Zeus and Cthulhu with a lot of, I think if you love wrestling, you'll see a lot of like Easter eggs that you'll appreciate.
Nice. That's hilarious. All right. And we were going to stop for just a second here to take a look at the comments. We got Niobe checking in. Reminds us, don't forget to buy Niobe at the local comic shops. And back 47 Furious Tales #3 and Ninja Bimbos vs. Zombies from Deep Space One on Kickstarter just launched today.
Yeah, I backed that one today.
A lot of really good projects out there. It's nice to see. And Atrocity Press, speaking of the Ninja Bimbos, says what's up in the chat. And we have to remind you, use code VOTE10 when you want to get some Gemini mailers. I've got the...
I did use that code and it worked. So thank you for that.
Sweet. Yeah, we're the only place to get one. 10% off. Use code VOTE10 when you order the Gemini mailers. Shipping out books. If it's not coming in a Gemini mailer, you're definitely taking a little bit of risk there. You never know what kind of football games your shipper people, whether post office or FedEx or UPS, they might be throwing it around a little bit rough. So
I did not use that code the last time, and I feel like an idiot for not using it because I forgot. But you know what? Who needs to save money? Everybody. So I'll use it the next time.
Okay, next up to that, Two-Eyed Tales magazine. Screen. All right. Here we are, Kickstarter Two-Eyed Tales magazine, black and white horror collection, and in nature.
Yeah, so this is our Kickstarter. It has 3 black and white horror stories. They're themed around the human fear of wild animals and kind of the fears that we've had ever since we lived in civilization of the wilderness. The first story is based in northern peyote mythology. It's about there's a myth about Coyote turning a cannibal giant to stone, and it's actually a real site that is in Oregon. This takes place in 1809, and it's about 3 Native Americans who find out that a meteorite has struck the face of the cannibal giant, and his essence is leaking out, and it's causing all the nearby wildlife to hunger for human flesh. So they have to go and seal the crack without being eaten first. And the story is called A Pleasant Walk to the Cannibal Giant's Face. And that's our main story. It's 22 pages. Their second story is called The Purr of the Void, and it's about a guy in Sri Lanka who gets cursed by a cultist to turn into a leopard at night and eat people. And he tries to break the curse, but the only thing he knows about it is what he's been exposed to from pop culture. And none of those approaches work to break the curse. And that's a 10-page story. And the last one is only 4 pages. It's called The Invisible Claw Monster from Outer Space. it's about a woman who falls asleep while she's watching a 1950s B monster movie, and she wakes up to scratching on her door.
Oh man.
And so that's 4 pages of the whole thing's 36 pages are all story pages. This is our second Two Eyed Tales collection. So I put some pages on here from the first one as well. That was a 48-page story with 4 stories. That's like a manga-sized, small-sized comic. The new one is actually a magazine-sized comic. And it has 3 covers. One is for the deluxe edition, which includes the script and the commentary pages. And then there's two covers for the other edition.
All right, let's check out the video then. Nicely done. All right, you're at 1,667. I have a 2,619 goal. 81 incredible backers. 14 days to go. And looks like you got a Kickstarter project we love. Congratulations on that. All right.
What made you want to change formats from magazine to manga size to magazine?
I just kind of wanted to do something a little different. And the first one was kind of inspired more by horror manga. So made it kind of more of a manga format. The second one was more inspired by the horror comics magazines, where they started making these horror comics, black and white magazines in the 70s to kind of get around the comics code. So, I just thought it would be kind of cool to have it this time be kind of an homage to a different format.
Right on, that's cool.
All right, beautiful looking book.
So which size did you say it is this time? Did you say it's the magazine or standard size?
What's that?
I said, what size did you say the book's going to be this time?
The book is 8.5 inches by 10 1/4.
Yeah,
it's about magazine size.
The one thing we found that was interesting, because we just fulfilled the Misfits Clubhouse Kickstarter campaign, and the first story for Misfits is in Frontiers magazine on Scout Comics, and that's magazine size. And so we had to tell backers, we're like, well, we're going to ship you the issues in Geminis, but for the magazines, we had to ship in the typical white mailers. So that kind of threw us off a little bit, because we had to ship. There's not a Gemini for magazine size. So that kind of threw our shipping off a little bit. But
yeah, I've shipped them in Gemini size before.
Really?
It's not like 100% fitting, but I found that if you don't fold it all the way on the top and bottom, you get
if you just crush it from the top, Matt,
you
you'll
get a
be able
little
to get
bit
it all
more
in, man.
space. Yeah. But yeah, we also did like some 8.5 square comics, and we put them in magazine bags, so that kind of fit too. Yeah, it's a little tight, but yeah, it does fit, especially if there's only one in there.
I may have to try that then the next time we have to ship one of these Frontiers, see if I can get it to fit in there.
I thought this was Erwin J. Urzoa's cover. Recognize his art anywhere.
He has such a distinguished style. You're just like, I know you.
Yeah.
Louis, that was probably me. That was me that reached out to you on Kickstarter. I've been reaching out to a lot of people.
All right. Awesome. So, guys, that's Two-Eyed Tales over on Kickstarter. And check them out. 2 more weeks to go. And pick up this book. All right. That's going to bring up Mr. Tyler Carpenter. You're next on the campaign is live.
Yeah, I don't have a link to your campaign, Tyler. You need to put it in the private chat.
Frick. Hold on. I got this. This is so unprofessional.
I was doing it behind the scenes. We're
You got it so fast. Oh, that was close. Yeah, guys, this is my book, The Girl with the Megafist, Volume 1. A 200-page epic story that tells the story of Eliana, a girl fighting against love and destiny while training to become the ultimate superhero. Now, she's not a superhero, but she is a hero, and she's been chosen by the gods to wield these megafists, but as well, she's also tasked to bringing a partner down to Earth, who's a representative of another faction of the gods. And normally the gods, they choose who she's going to bring down, but this year they chose 2 twin brothers, and she has to decide between those 2 twin brothers who she's going to take down to Earth. Is she going to take down to Earth the one who is the strongest, the most capable to do their job as being a hero, or is she going to choose the one who has her heart? The book is 100% completed. I like to do this in every stream. I like to do some ASMR, because here's the book.
Hold on.
We're still going.
Taylor, you got problems.
No, right. And then, are you guys monetized?
Yeah.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
$5. I'll lick the microphone.
Do it.
No.
Do it. How does it taste?
Kind of gross, actually. But yeah, no, this is a project that I very much am in love with. In fact, I'm right now working on Volume 2 of The Girl with the Megafist, and it's an ongoing series, and we plan to put out 2 of these a year, 2 of these 200-page volumes a year. Volume 2 should be out in September, but right now we are focusing on Volume 1.
All right. Well, let's focus on your intro.
And when I find you, I know that you'll be the one to help me save the world and sees me more than just the girl who feels like she is all alone, surrounded by an unknown foe who loves me for what I can be and not what I'm supposed to be.
I don't know if my audio's on, but there's a lot more bass and beefy on my computer, but it's all good. I sang that song, by the way. I recorded and sang it.
I thought you did. I was like, is that a Tyler joint?
Yeah. Go listen to it on your own. Go listen to it on your own time. Because I don't think the audio didn't pick up very well. But yeah, I wrote and sang that song.
I wonder how many times Indie Volt has had a show where 50% of the guests have their own original music that they played in their own videos.
Probably a lot.
It's fun. I think that's like there's all these things that like you see creators start like doing, like This is just one of those things where it's like, oh, you have an original song, and now it's a thing. You got to have an original song.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get them on the radio station.
and I know Joseph wrote and produced that entire original composition in your video. That's an original composition that has never been heard before, right?
Yeah, I could produce the entire musical and just rip the music out of it.
But yeah, no, I think those are just those things that I think more creators are going to start are going to start doing. But yeah, I'm really proud of this work that we've done. I release it's broken up into chapters, and I release a new chapter of this story every 2 weeks on my Patreon. And so all my patrons, they've already read the story in digital format. I release a new 12-page chapter every 2 weeks. And then if you're a part of a certain tier, I just mail you out the book once it's finished. But when we took it to Kickstarter, I wanted it to be as affordable as I could possibly get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for this 200-page book, it's $15. $15 plus shipping. That's just for the main cover. And then, I've got my other body of work that people can purchase if they're interested in it.
All right.
Tyler, I got to tell you one thing I think that Russell and I both are jealous of you about is that Russell, if I'm putting words in your mouth, slap me down. We are not artists. And so to see a 200-page book and go, we didn't have to pay for this like you do, that's amazing, because the amount of, even if you're getting affordable art, a 200-page book, that's a lot of art to have to pay for. So you do it yourself, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it means I neglect my family, I don't see my kid grow up, and I gain weight on this chair. But it's true. I remember, so my series Demons, which is 15 issues, I remember paying out of pocket for the art on that and just going, man, I cannot keep doing it. I was like, I cannot keep doing this. So I grabbed a pencil and paper and it was like, all right, what do we got to do? What do we got to do to never not, I love working with artists, but I was like, what do I got to do so I never have to pay an artist again to make my comics? And so I spent the next 7 years. This is my first comic putting out that I drew. It's taken 7 years.
Wow.
Every other book I've hired an artist, and this is the first book where I've actually drawn it. It took 7 years to get confident enough to say, "Hey guys, I can draw my own book now."
Well, you've definitely leveled up since Chefs.
Thanks, man. I was looking at Chefs. Yeah. Here's the thing, Eric. I'm so glad you said that, because people keep asking me, "Can I get Chefs?" And you can on this campaign. You can get Chefs, but let me tell you something. I looked at the art the other day, and I was like, this is way better. This is way better than Chefs. I get it. You guys love Chefs, but this art looks way better. I've definitely improved, but I appreciate that.
You've been drawing it. You're drawing this thing every day, consistently, and it's been impressive to see that growth.
Yeah, you're bound to get better if you're drawing the same freaking thing every day.
Oh, absolutely.
It's actually
it's not just your drawing though, but your composition. Like this last page here. This is,
dude, I drew this page on Indie Volt last year. I remember being on, but yeah, I appreciate that. That's one of my favorite pages. What's actually infuriating about this book is that if I look at page 1 and then compare it to the last page, I can see a whole 6 months skill level.
Yeah.
And I'm working on volume 2 right now, and I'm already man, these pages look a lot better than volume 1. So I'm excited. It's a project I'm very passionate about.
I can tell, and you got to have the passion. It's just can't. I don't know. At least for me, I can't do anything very well if I'm not really just into it. And I know I'm into it because my ACD brain, or my ADHD brain will just go off into that world. I'll just drift over there, and maybe something I'll hear or see will trigger something in me for a story concept I've been mulling over, and I just sit there and I'll just play it out in my mind, and and think about that. That's how I know I'm deeply interested in a project I'm working on.
Yeah, I mean, it looks way better than the 2 books that I drew. Like, that's the thing, Matt. I did draw 2 books and released them on Kickstarter last 2 years ago. And like, I was like, no, I'm never going to get better than this. Like, this is like the amount of effort I have to do to get better than like this art is so extensive. I'm just going to write novels. And like, that's going to be the thing.
Which ones did you draw, Russell?
So I drew 2 books. Gherkin Boy and the Dollar of Destiny, which is this book. This is the art. This is the level of the art that I can draw. Like, so you can say it's not. It's so that's and then I did a book called How Not to Invade Earth, which is pretty similar in the style of how well it's drawn. But I did draw these 2 books, and like people love them. People. To go back to your thing about chefs, like I'm constantly shocked that people tell me how much they love these books and they still buy them. And anyone bought them on the Kickstarter. Everyone who bought them on the Kickstarter was like, I'm going to have 130 people hate me now. They're all just going to hate me because this art is not good. And like, they all like were telling me how charming it was and how like, but I think it's not about the art. It's about like making art that works for the story. And then putting heart into it. And if you like, I'm not drawing Batman with these, but with this art style, but like for the style that it was and for the quality of art that I can do, like I've been very I've been overwhelmed almost with like people who've said nice things about it.
Do you think it's because they saw they could? Well, clearly they felt a connection to it in some way, but they also could feel like the I don't know.
I think people just have a deep connection, like a deep appreciation, especially on Kickstarter, especially in the comics community of like when you have drawn the thing with your own hands. Like there's just like an appreciation in comics because it's so hard. Like doing it, like making that book that I just showed you with the art, and that was so hard. It was so hard to do that thing. That like I think there's just an appreciation of like you cared enough about this to put, a year of your life into drawing this thing. Like I have to read it. Like I have to see it and like see what the story you constructed was. And I also think that people are pretty forgiving about things like these books. Like they're very forgiving of the art. Like if the story's good, like they'll forgive way more than I ever thought a human being could forgive as far as art style. But I think the other thing is like I drew those books to understand what it was like to work with an artist, to like see what it was like from the artist's perspective. I was trying to like be like, oh, okay, this is very, very hard to stay on model. And there's no model for the whole book. Like it's just like the Gherkin Boy has like a different number of little circles on his pickle. And like just the whole time, like it leans the different ways. Like it's never the same.
That sentence didn't sound right.
It's a book about a pickle that falls into a black hole. Like it's a sex thing, even if I didn't mean it to be a sex thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think maybe like also just the fact that like why I drew it, like it was like to help understand art better, and like,
but you also completed it. That's the other thing is that you completed it. I'm looking at the like drawing 64 pages, in comics we like to throw out numbers, 22-page issue, 60-page graphic novel, 200-page blah, blah, blah. And like we can throw out those numbers, oh, I'm going to do a 5-issue story. That's 100, it could be anywhere from 100 pages. That's a lot of work.
Yes.
Like it's a lot of work just to do 20 pages and to stick with it. I just did a podcast and someone was like, Tyler, I also noticed that you were putting out a book in May called Monster Soldiers. It's going to be a 60-page graphic novel. I'm like, yeah, I actually canceled it. I was 12 pages in, full art, and I was like, this story sucks. Like, this story sucks. It is ass. And I could keep drawing it, and I could finish it, and I could put it out, and people will read it and go, this is ass. But then I had to draw it, and I was like, I don't want to draw another 50 pages when I know this is ass. So the fact that you believed in your story enough to go, okay, I'm going to draw the full 60 pages that shows heart that I think a customer can go, wow, like he really believes in this. I'm going for it.
Yeah, and I think people are just going to be like, I have to see what this thing is, and then like maybe there's a charm to it, because you're right. Like, especially once you're an established creator, like if you put out a book, like you are putting your name on, and you understand that like means something. It means something to put your name on this thing, and it has to achieve a certain level of quality. So I do think that people are willing to take chances on those things as well. I think when you're a young creator, like you very much put out work that you should never show anyone and try to monetize books that should never see the light of day. But like once you get more established, your name sort of not just means something to people who have read your work, but also means something because you understand what it means to put something out with your name on it, and that it's going to be tied to your name forever.
I think one of the things too, I mean, I think you touched on it earlier, Russell, is you look at some of the most iconic, even like comic strips, Charlie Brown, Garfield, or even like the Oatmeal, those things aren't getting awards for being the most artistically advanced things that are out there. It's because there's story to it, and there's heart to it, and there's characters, and there's things that people can escape into that story. And I think that's probably why people liked what you do. Your stories are always very well written. I mean, I look at like Ichabod Jones, and those things are just very, very, very well written. So I think that people know, hey, no matter how this thing is drawn, there's going to be something in the story that I can grasp onto and feel like I've actually had money well invested.
What was that? You know, that Blue Alien comic strip that's very popular?
Strange Planet?
Yeah, Strange Planet. That was like, it's every year. It's like, he releases a new book that collects all the stories that he posts on Instagram for free. And it's always in like the top 10 most sold graphic novels, like you know, right next to Dogman and all these other ones. And it's just people, you read those and you go, wow, like I could have drawn this. Well, one, you didn't, but two, it's not that you didn't draw it. It's the fact that he was able to create in just, you know, maybe 4 panels, an emotional connection that you go, oh yeah, I can relate to this. I see how, I see how it relates to me.
He's this generation's, Far Side.
Yeah.
I think it's like also like XKCD too. That kind of similar.
I don't know who XKCD is, so I'm not going to nod my head.
It's just stick figures. It's great.
Okay. Nice, Russell. You just threw in a reference that no one understood, and then it just went.
I
like to start comic book war beef now with Russell for creating Dead Air.
Wouldn't that be podcast beef though?
It's just comics. I'm gonna take you down on Twitter. I'm gonna get thousands of streams about you.
Okay, but first, go read XKCD, because it is like a formative comic strip for me. Like, it's so good, but also so simple.
XKCD.
Yeah, we're all going to our browsers right now. XKCD.
I'm actually say first, go back all these campaigns. Then like and subscribe.
Everyone watching is just like, forget these comic campaigns. What's this XKCD?
I agree with Russell. Go to the campaigns first. We'll go look at XKCD while you're backing, and then you can come back and then you can do that.
This is it's just stick figures with a ton of text.
Yeah, it's one of the most famous comics that web comics from like the early days of the internet.
What in the world?
That's cool.
He had this one that was like a 1 terabyte drawing that he did of just like it scrolled like forever.
Now that's creative. If that's the case, that's pretty cool.
I wonder where I'll float next.
Crazy.
These are cool. I never say this, Eric, but I'm an award-winning cartoonist nationally. And then I gave up after I got the award because I was sick of drawing Trump every day. You draw Trump enough, you'll keep getting jobs from the newspapers. But I love these strips. They're so hard to do. I got a full ride scholarship at school. At university, and they said all you have to do to keep your full ride scholarship is produce 3 cartoons every single week. I'm like, easy. Okay, but then it wasn't.
Nope.
Then it wasn't. It was just like, but here the thing is, luckily it was nice because it was during that 2016, like the Trump when he was It was during Trump while he was trying to get elected. So it was like every I'd be watching and he'd say something. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And it was just the perfect time to grab stuff and make fun of both political sides because each one was saying some funny shit every single day. That was some fun stuff to pull from, and people could relate to it. But I think that's what's important with when you're doing a comic book story is can you relate to your reader in some way?
Yeah. If you can't tell, like, if you can't tell a good story that somebody makes a connection with, you can tell when it falls flat because, how you would go to the movies or something. So that performance was like cardboard. They didn't seem real. It's the same way when you're dealing with, in a written story. If it's not making a connection with you, if the characters, you don't make a connection with the characters, then it's like cardboard acting.
Yeah.
I also have this theory that I've been thinking about. That I also think that for creators as well, it's not just it's funny. I just told this theory to my patrons who pay for this podcast I do, and I'm about to just say it right here. So sorry, guys. I'll refund you your $2. Is I also think that with like creators, especially now with like the day and age of the internet, I wonder if it's like if it's just as important besides telling the story that you're making, that there's also a story around the making of it. Like there's a connection between the reader and the creator. For example, I'm going to use these examples. And no one cancel me. And if you do, we'll start Twitter beef. And I'm really good at it. You have someone like polarizing figure Richard C. Meyer, Diversity in Comics, your boy Zach. He spends a year on YouTube trashing Marvel and DC Comics and says how much he hates them, and then says all the things he wants all the things he wants to fix. And then he makes a comic, and he gets kicked off of Kickstarter, and he says it's because of its political leanings. He says that. Then he puts out his Jawbreakers book on Indiegogo, and then he tries to get published through Antarctic Press. They say yes, and then Mark Waid calls Antarctic Press and says, don't release this book. He then puts that into his narrative, and then now he gets 10,000 backers on Indiegogo. And if I ask anyone, I go, what's Jawbreakers? No one can tell me what the story is about. No one can name any of these characters. But what they can say is, oh, it was made by Richard C. Meyer. And they say they know the backstory of how it was made, and yet no one can tell me what the story is about. And there's so many different examples of creators doing this in the comic sphere, and I'm just wondering, like is that an important thing that every creator do? Is not obviously don't try to get into controversy, but is there a way to build a story around what you are doing as a creator?
Yes, there is. I do that all the time. That's like my whole brand is building a story behind it. But I will say that like I think starting to believe people go too far with it. Because like I don't need to know everything that you do in your life to like enjoy your book slightly more. Like I can just know like a little bit. I can have like little tidbits of like this story. Like one of my favorite authors is Melissa Albert, and she does, when she releases a book, she'll do like a book, like a virtual book tour, and like I'll buy the book and pay way more money for it to get into this 1 hour thing, and like that's enough for me. Like I don't need to know like everything that she has for breakfast or everything that she thinks about everything. Like I want that little bit of like extra information. Now there are people that like I follow and never buy their book because like I care about or like I'll buy their book and never read it because like I care about them as a person, but like I don't necessarily care about like the book that they're making, but like I want to support just whatever groove they're in, like whatever groove they're making. Like I want to support that. So I do think that you can fall into that trap if you rely too heavily on like the hype machine of like you. And suddenly people are like, I don't know what a Jawbreaker is. I don't know what a diversity in comics is. Like, I just like this guy, and like, I'm never going to read this book, but like I'm gonna give him money, and like that's good. Like so sometimes that's good enough. Like you just need the $10. Sometimes you just need to live to fight another day. But like other times, you really want the people to read the freaking book.
Yeah, no. I brought that up actually because in my podcast that I did, sorry patrons, is because that can only last so long. I forget how you just said it really well. Hype machine, yes, because those 10,000 backers didn't come back for the next books, and because you can only get kicked out of Antarctic Press so many times, you can only you can only do all these things, and so at that point, you can get this hype machine, but at that point, you have to one example is my friends Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini. They have a book called Common America on Kickstarter, and it kills. And they kind of had the same thing. Their recent one just now, I think it just did $100,000 in like 2 days. You can't beat what they're doing. Hardback book for $10, you can't beat that. They also kind of had one of those hype machine moments where they're like, we're putting something out. We've been kicked out of all these groups. Everyone hates us. We're betting on ourselves. And then they put out Common America 1. It does $20,000. And then instead of it dropping down, their story was good enough to get more and more people to grow. And so I agree with Russell. You can't just keep going with that hype machine. At some point, they're going to have to read the book and it's going to have to be good. Otherwise, they're not coming back.
Well, and you can't trying to think of the word. You can't rely on the hype machine because like for every Common America, there's 1,000 people who like did not get who like I'm going to go all in, bet on myself, and like made $1,000. So like, I think, but yeah, I agree with you. You have to. I think about the Brandon Sanderson thing today. Like Brandon Sanderson launched a Kickstarter this morning, and it's raised over $10 million today. Like he raised more money in 5 minutes than I have in my entire Kickstarter career. Plus, and then some. He made like $4 million in 3 hours. I'm like, that's a scenario where like the hype machine came for him. Like he got hired to do the last book of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. But like the books then were really good. And like people read the books and read his other work. And like now it's probably up to like $12 million.
He's at 12 million now.
Yeah. He raised $12 million in one day because that was the hype machine that like swept him up, and then people liked the thing that he was making, and now they come for the books as well as the hype machine. So the hype machine fades. You have to also have that other piece of it, which like the book has to be good.
I think with that as well, with like Brandon Sanderson, he also had a body of work before he took on Wheel of Time. He had his Mistborn series, and then so maybe what you really want is you want to be really good, have a body of work that is good, but then when that hype machine comes, it better be good, and then they can come and read your past work. I think that's one thing that a lot of indie comic creators, especially new ones, they don't realize is the importance of having a back catalog. And so when new creators, sometimes they'll go, oh, look at this Kickstarter that has such big numbers. Sometimes they don't realize that a lot of it is new backers, new readers coming in and going, oh, you also have 3 other books. And then they back you I'm actually kind of pissed that I sold as many copies of my graphic novel Entity because I actually thought I had like 100 copies in a box and I only had 6. So now I have to reorder. And I have to reorder them. But like it raises the average backer level, which means there's more money on Kickstarter, and so a lot of new creators, they go, oh, how do I get this? Well, you're not going to be able to have this on your first or second book, but if you do enough campaigns, 7 or 8, 10 campaigns, people are going to start buying your back catalog. Frank Martin is a great example. I buy everything that Frank Martin has. He puts out a book, I just back it. I don't even know what the book's about. I'll just get them in the mail, and he doesn't do very much marketing. He just has like a newsletter he puts out maybe every 3 months, but he just puts out a new book, and they're every new book, he gets maybe 20 or 30 new backers, and he just keeps putting out a new one. And sometimes that's all you have to do to grow is just keep putting out.
Yeah,
I can say one thing that Russell a couple of our campaigns ago. He's like, hey, do you have a catch-up tier? He's like, I got one issue, but I missed one. He's like, I need to be able to catch up, but he didn't see there was one there. So we're like, you know what, you're right. We went back and did that. And we've tried to make sure since that conversation that we had that everything that we've ever offered is in some way, shape, or form available in a campaign, especially now with add-ons. There's no excuse.
Yes.
Because there's been times that people are like, I just heard about you guys. You guys are cool. I want one of everything that you've ever done. So we literally will put a tier out there. It's like, hey, we've got 42 variant covers over here across multiple series. We've got medieval fantasy and metal music and all ages. You want it all? Okay, we'll give you it all. We'll find all the extra stuff. And because we're like, if people don't have an easy way to go get it, they're going to go to the next campaign, or they're just not going to spend that money on you at all. So just going from that one conversation with Russell like 3 or 4 campaigns ago, we've tried to make sure that we always have the easiest one click away for people to be able to get anything they want to get in our campaigns.
Yay. And also, like, people undervalue just continuing to be there. You know, like, there are creators that they put out one book and I'm like, all right, that looks okay. And like, then I find them like 2 years later, they put out like 6 books and I'm like, oh, well, like, I suddenly have to take you seriously. And like, not because your first book wasn't good, but because like you're 6 books in now. It means like you've got that special brand of crazy that like creators have to like finish the book and stay with it. The same thing with like a podcast that has 100 episodes of it is just like, I initially have more empathy and pathos to that series than that podcast than any book that has one single, like anyone that has like one episode. It could be the greatest episode ever. Just because like, I think that they finally have staying power. And it might be 2 books. It might be 10 books. It might be, I don't know, I put out like 30 books and some people are still finding me or finally giving me a chance now. But like, there is something to not just having the huge catch-up tiers, because they are great. But also having just to be like, you know, USA Today bestselling author. I've written 40 novels. Like, maybe you should try one because people have done it before and I'm still doing it. So like, maybe there's something to it. And at some point, I will tell you, like, people, I've had conversations with people at conventions where they said, I got to buy your books now because you have so many of them. Like, I just have to try it and see what the hype is about. And like, some of those people will go on to become some of our biggest fans. And some people buy it and go, oh, there's nothing to this actually. So it's not like just having all of that stuff is a guarantee that someone's going to get it and like it. Like, you can put out great books and like 98% of people will just not grok it. And like, that's what's going to happen. A great podcast or a great anything. But there is something to both having that back catalog so people can catch up on, because people always say you have a $450 tier. Like, that is crazy. And I'm like, it's not crazy. People buy it. People buy that amount of money. Like, people have given me more than that amount of money for books before. So it's not crazy to me to have something that people actually buy. It does feel crazy to me when someone buys it. Like, when someone goes, yes, I've heard about you long enough. I'm buying this huge, massive collection of books. Like, it is like, it blows my mind. But like, people will go back and they'll buy all that stuff. And like, you make a lot of money as a creator on there, but just having it sitting there, like, does bring you some cachet. And frankly, like, the imposter syndrome that most creators face, like, once you've got a body of work, like, I find that most people like have a little bit easier time with that, because they're like, oh, well, Bob like has bought all of my books, and like, Bob's not a knob, so like he's like, he must be onto something. So like, if I say I'm a crappy creator, then like suddenly I'm insulting Bob, and like, that's not good. So like, there must be something in my work because at least one person likes it, or 20 people, or whatever it is. Hi, Joe, over there. I haven't heard you speak in like 30 minutes.
Hey, sorry, my kids need help with homework. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to put them to bed now. But yeah, I mean, this is our 10th Kickstarter. We also have like anthologies we're in, and just like all that stuff. And there's always like a couple of people that want just everything. And I certainly don't have like $450 worth of stuff, but we have a lot of stuff. So there's always a couple people that do that. So I think it's always good at least to have it as add-ons. I have noticed that people started getting more comfortable with add-ons in the past couple of campaigns. It's just, when they first came out, people just kind of didn't really like them, I think. But in the last couple of campaigns, I've seen people kind of get more comfortable doing add-ons, and it's actually making fulfillment a little bit more difficult because it's kind of hard to find afterwards when you're looking at it and you're going, why did that person put so much money on that tier? And then you have to go in and do it. So it complicates things a little bit, but I think it's actually really great for the backers. Like I said, we have this Two-Eyed Tales, we have previous Two-Eyed Tales, we have the whole Crusader Dracula miniseries, Order Dracula, Dr. Orange, all kinds of stuff like that. And for me, if I want to simplify fulfillment, we'll just do the comics, maybe some downloadable stuff. That's about it. I'm trying to avoid really fiddly things like T-shirts. Everybody has different sizes, and I've had tiers before where you could choose a cover, like you can get one cover and then you get to choose the other cover, and even that is kind of difficult because sometimes people don't want to do the surveys and so then they never pick the cover. So just trying to make things as simple as possible so that I can fulfill it within a couple of months and just get on to the next thing.
All right. Hey, if you're going to go, Joseph, why don't you tell everybody where they can follow you online?
Yeah. So our Kickstarter is at twoeyedtales.com. I have a website at heresystudiosllc.com. Have a Twitter at Heresy Studios LL. Have a Instagram at Heresy Studios LLC Comics. 2 Facebook pages, The Order of Dracula and Heresy Studios LLC. So thanks for having me on. It was nice for you guys to have me back on. And good luck with your campaigns.
Absolutely. Thanks
Good
for
seeing
joining
you, man.
us.
Thanks a lot. Good seeing you, man. I got to tell you guys, I need to close this Brandon Sanderson window because this is like the ultimate Brian Pulido where you just see the lottery numbers rolling on the Kickstarter campaign.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. The backer numbers go as fast as a Brian Pulido dollar number count.
Oh
And
my gosh.
it's mesmerizing, but it also is discouraging as you're like, this is insane. I just want a couple more backers on the campaign. And this guy's like, oh, let's see how many hundreds of thousands of dollars happen in the next 10 minutes.
I lost $600 worth of backers yesterday, and then it's just really cool that he's done 46,000 backers and 12 million, and the average backer is doing around $300 to $400.
Yeah, I think it was $400 last time I checked. That's
nuts?
just insane. But it just shows you what you can do if you have a devoted fan base, and you get anointed as the next Robert Jordan helps. But having a fan base and delivering for them, just I'm not saying any other human would ever be able to do this besides a J.K. Rowling kind of person, or but it is possible because one person did it, and definitely helps make the conversation for well, I don't know, should you use Kickstarter? I mean, it's good enough for Brandon Sanderson. He raised $12 million in 12 hours. Maybe you should get off my back about whether I should be using it or not.
There's also this thing where it's two things. You have people going, when's the best time to put out a Kickstarter? And goes, really, it just goes to show any time. People got money. People have $400. If any of you guys are like, Tyler, I need help, $400, I'm like, yeah, let's figure out when we can do this in 6 months. $400. He did no prep, but people are like, oh, you $400 that. So as long as there's no good, the best time is just whenever you and your fans are ready. But then 2, it just goes to show that I work in the book publishing world, in marketing, and one of the guys I work with, he's this big marketing whiz, and he's always like, Tyler, and this is his hero is Brandon Sanderson, because we live over here, and he goes, Tyler, do I just knock on his door and ask for advice? I went, I don't know, I'll jump the fence if you want, but there's I'll do what you want me to do so you can see him. But he's in marketing, there's this thing called there's always room at the top. meaning that everyone is always fighting to get to the top. But once you get to the top, there is room for everyone. It's just right now, like for me, I'm at the bottom. I'm starting those Twitter wars. I'm fighting other creators online so I can be like, hey, that person pedophile, so back my book. Like I'm doing what I need to do. I'm fighting dirty till I can get other people's backers. But then once you get to the top, I'm not doing any of that, guys. Once you get though to the top, there is room for everyone. Once you succeed and you build enough confidence with readers, there is room at the top for everyone. You just you have to fight for it.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta look at the people that are on here right now, all of us. The number of backers, even if Russell has his highest backer count campaign ever, the number of people in the US compared to the number of backers, if we are going to get pissed off at each other for 100 backers, 1,000 backers, 2,000 backers, we're in the wrong industry, because there are clearly enough people out there that Russell can have a successful campaign and he can be doing handstands and headstands and be happy about it. And we can be doing the same thing and be helping each other raise up. Russell, your name comes up so often when people ask Stefan about how we got started, because you're one of 3 people that took the time, you and Charlie Stickney and Madeline Holly Rosing, to, when we were asking questions, we look back at some of the questions we asked, we're like, oh my gosh, they were probably losing their freaking mind at some of the simplistic questions we were asking. But you all took the time and worked with us. And if this was truly a competitive dog-eat-dog business, you would never have done that. But you can help out creators, and that good karma is going to come back to you at some point. You're going to have people like Steph and I that are doing panels, and we're talking about how to get started, and we give people advice like that. And we're like, Russell and Charlie and Madeline did this for us then, so we have to do this for you now, so you can get to that step 1. So, that's, if people are worried about that, there's an issue.
Yeah, I'm so glad that what advice I gave you was not detrimental to your career, and it was helpful to it.
They stopped being creators after their first book because it just didn't pan out.
It's like, Russell told me to do this stuff, and it's so bad I've ruined everything. I can't. But yeah, I walked outside. So I saw this campaign. It was at $10 million, and I walked outside and told my wife, I was like, Brandon Sanderson has a campaign that's at $10 million for 4 books, and she literally reacted with, Can you get that for me? That was her reaction. No, I didn't tell her what the thing is. And he didn't even say what the thing is. He's just like, these are 4 books I wrote. Here are the covers. I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah, no one even knows what the stories are about. They're secret.
I thought you were saying she was asking you if you could get her a $10 million campaign for you guys.
No. She's like, can you get me those? She's like, can you get me those books? And I was like, yeah, I guess this is how easy it is for Brandon Sanderson, because even at the amount of money that he's made, it is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the people who have read Brandon Sanderson over the lifetime, because he's one of the most popular fantasy authors of all time, and certainly now maybe the most popular fantasy author that is currently writing in the series that they are known for. But yeah, I totally agree with you. People will complain that Brandon Sanderson is pulling resources from other creators. And aside the fact that his campaign literally crashed Kickstarter multiple times today, he's done nothing but put a campaign up and then brought 50,000 people to the Kickstarter platform, many of whom probably have never used Kickstarter or were wary about it before, but now feel good about it. And I think we all have a duty. We all have a duty, especially on Kickstarter, because the platform is interactive, to be good stewards of the platform and put out good books and deliver those books and raise up other people who are cool. Because I've been doing backer swaps for ever. And I literally got a message yesterday from John O'Hara, who probably has backed everyone's campaign because he backs every campaign. And he's like, thank you for doing these things. I just backed 3 more books. And I was like, he didn't unback my book. He just also backed other books because I was curating books that I thought were cool. And he's like, you thought they were cool? I'm going to go back them right now. And that's happened now for so many times, in the 5-6 years I've been releasing books, and 10 years I've been building this, that it can't be a coincidence. Like it can't be. It's happened hundreds of times where someone has either found my book from someone who told them about it, or I helped someone find other books. And like you get, what people don't understand is you get relational like credit for introducing people to other books. Like people will be like, hey, you introduced me to my favorite book. Like you get some credit for that, and like it builds your relationship with that reader if you can say, not only do I have a cool book, but I will show you other people's cool books. You know, there's a thing, and I've been obsessed with marketing for like the past decade, mostly because I had to survive. But like the thing that I learned was like the best thing you can be is a curator of like good. If people believe in your taste, like you can do almost anything, because like you can build other people up, you can build your own book up, but like that you can help other creators do the things that they want to do. You can do the things that you want to do, but like you have to take that seriously and be a good steward for the whole enterprise.
Sorry for leaving, guys. I had to do a quick medical check on
no problem.
Marion.
Good.
He's,
I think,
having some breathing problems right now.
No.
I don't like hearing that. Especially, do not like hearing that at all.
Yeah, don't like that.
We got a doctor's appointment set up for it. It's been happening almost every day right now.
That sucks.
So, and Eric, after the show, stay behind, please.
Sure, no problem. It was a very eloquently put there, Russell. Definitely. So there's like so many different ways of going about building up a following. How much do you let people into your lives? Great discussion tonight, everyone. So I think on that, we've been going for a little over an hour. Back these books, people. We got some high quality content here, and let's see. Anybody else in the chat? No, looks like we
I pulled up everybody.
Sounds good.
But on a closing note for me, I did send out all of the orders for lore except the international ones. Those are next to go, and all PDFs are sent out.
Congratulations.
It was a learning. It was a learning experience. I'll tell you that. There was mistakes I made, but I know what to do better next time.
So all you can do is do better next time, right?
Yep, that's right.
But I am getting good feedback. Everyone so far has messaged me or posted, and they're loving the book. So
awesome.
Good to
I
hear.
referee a lot of soccer games. I reffed over 5,000 soccer games in my life, and I've reffed a lot of games with brand new referees that are on their very first game. And I tell them, I'm like, I don't want you to come out here and believe you're going to have the best game ever and you're not going to make any mistakes in your first game. As long as you know more at halftime than you did at the start of the game, as long as you know more at the end of the game than you did at halftime, then you can consider it a success. And I think that rolls over into the creative world too, where you can't expect to not make any mistakes in your first creation, especially on your first Kickstarter campaign. I know that every one of us in here, the first campaign we ran, when we lost a backer, we probably all were on jump off the balcony watch. But now it's just a part of the process. You're going to get backers. You're going to lose backers. Hey, it is what it is. Don't sweat the small stuff and just keep on going out there and working your campaign the way that you need to. And so that guarantee your next campaign, you're going to be like, hey, I've learned from the first one, and what am I going to do better this time, and what am I not going to sweat this time, and go from there.
Yeah, I already have the next one planned out and everything. But yeah, I mean, I was super excited. My first book I put out by myself. I wrote it, lettered it, and it was all me.
That's awesome.
Ran 2 successful campaigns for it, and I was happy. I am happy. I'm excited.
That's awesome.
That's great. All right, everyone, we're going to wrap things up. So, starting with Russell, tell everybody where they can stalk you maliciously online.
Please do back my book if you're going to stalk me maliciously. Please at least give me some money before you do that. Then I'm on basically on Facebook and Twitter. I do have an Instagram. It is literally only to talk to my tattoo artist, so I will not talk to you on it unless you are my tattoo artist. But I do exist there as Russell Writes Things. If you want to just follow me and then see me literally never post. But I am Russell Nolte on Facebook and Twitter. And then my website is russellnolte.com, where you can join our mailing list and get some free books and see all of the projects that I've been in over the years.
Excellent, excellent. Tyler, my man, besides the window outside your studio, how can people stalk you?
Don't say it. That's creepy because there literally is a window, and I'm like, how do you know about that? You can find me best places as Twitter and YouTube. So you can find me on Twitter at Tyler_C_world. You can see me offend every type of person on there because I don't care. And then I just have terrible opinions, and I like to shitpost on there. And then if you want to visualize those terrible opinions, you can watch me on YouTube. YouTube.com/JohnTalk, where we talk about comics, manga, comic book commentary, and we do live shows every week discussing various things.
And you have a Patreon, right?
Oh yeah, and I have a Patreon, patreon.com/JohnTalk, where you can get an exclusive podcast called The Broken Creator, where I just complain how hard it is to be a creator. And then I release every 2 weeks a new chapter of The Girl with the Megafist, which is my ongoing series. And if you're at the $5 tier on Patreon, every time we release a physical book, I just mail it to you.
Good deal. Good deal. Awesome. All right, Mr. Matt.
Hey, we got 4 days left in Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, Book 1, 48-page perfect bound book. My name, you can see the link. It's tinyurl.com/heirs, HEIRS TPP1. If you want to stalk us outside of Kickstarter, I would first ask you to go there first, and then you will have the free right to be able to go stalk us at insymmetrycreations.com. You could go to /insim at Facebook, at InSim Creations on Twitter, and then back to InSymmetry Creations on Instagram. I'll be with Brian K. Morris in the morning, way too early for me. Be on with Michael Watson tomorrow on Chat and Draw. Then back with you guys on Coffee Talk, and on Thursday morning, I'll be a guest at Clearwater Comic-Con on Saturday, on the second to last day of the campaign. And then next weekend, Steph and I are going to be at Collective Con in Jacksonville, and I'll be the panel host moderator doing all of the guest interviews. And Emily Swallow, who is the Mandalorian, who's the armor on the Mandalorian, will be one of them. And a ton of voice actors and a ton of awesome stuff there. But first and foremost is let's go rock this Kickstarter campaign, and then we'll worry about all the rest later.
Yeah.
Awesome. Indie Princess.
Well, first I want to answer why is this question? Fulfillment was hell. I had to print from 2 different printers because of the content of a book. Then that kept getting delayed because of the paper shortage and the shipping and the mail and all of that. So I was waiting forever for those books. And then just writing and packing, and it was hell.
It's a lot of work. People like
It
that.
is.
I think that's the worst part of doing a Kickstarter is actually the fulfillment. Like I've just been making boxes. I just go every time I get a new backer, I just make a box, and I have like hundreds of bags and boards because I know that's gonna take me forever. It is the worst. I hate it. It is the worst part.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I have something that I can add as a positive note. I love fulfillment because it is the only time that I feel like I've accomplished something. Like I get to take a book instead of like finishing bits and like moving bits around. Like I get to move to take an actual physical thing that was paid for by somebody and sign it and put it in a bag. And like, it is very satisfying to me in that thing, but it's also wonderful to like, look at all of the people who've supported me over the years again and again and again. So like, I see it as a positive of like, I don't have to do fulfillment. I get to. I admit that I did brainwash myself into believing that, but it is true for me now. It did take 20 books to get there though.
And by doing both crowdfunding platforms. There's one I like better, and it's so much
let me
easier.
guess. Let me guess. You liked Indiegogo better.
Oh hell yeah!
I knew it.
It's so much easier.
And I'm only saying that from the fulfillment side because they've already paid and it has their address, and you just go boom, 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 boom. But with Kickstarter, you got to go, okay, this pledge, there's their addresses. This pledge, this is their address.
And then you can't just like put in the tracking number like you can on Indiegogo. You have to send them a message with their tracking number.
There's definitely I think Kickstarter knows there's definitely some limitations in their interface. There's definitely some things, and they've been doing better by even putting things like the add-ons in. But now they need to get it to where you can port things over from campaign A to campaign B when it comes to items and tiers. Like for us putting in stuff in the add-ons, I was like, oh my god,
you have to do them every single time, Matt.
I'm like, I have to go put in 50 freaking add-on items. I'm going to freaking shoot myself. Not really, not literally, but but it is what it is, so hopefully they just continue to listen. And I know that Oriana is a great person that is working with all the comic creators, and she's done a great job in helping to move the platform forward. So hopefully it just keeps on improving. That's all we can
They need
hope
to
for.
work on their shipping. They need to take what Indiegogo does with their shipping and do it for Kickstarter. That's my only complaint.
Yeah. I do use BackerKit for all that stuff, so I don't feel any of that. Because I couldn't do it on Kickstarter. It is janky.
On that note, you guys can find me. Go to Linktree Indie_Princess, and all my links are there. Most people know how to find me already. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. You can find me, Indie Princess.
Awesome. And I'm Eric Hodson. You can follow me at Dreaded Dinosaur on all the social medias. You can also check out the Dreaded Dinosaur Man on Tapas and Webtoon, amongst the other projects that I'm working on, like the British Bulldog book, a couple other unnamed projects so far. But so you can find me there. And I've been working on Dreaded Dinosaur Man's print book and starting to plan out some of the things that are coming on, like the add-ons and stuff like that, and trying to get that groundwork done in all the spare time that I can. And I will be getting back to the Webtoon shortly so I can wrap up that storyline and lead you right into the comic book. But so can't wait to show more announcements on that. If you follow me on Twitter, I dropped some early screenshots of the action figure I'm working on, getting put on. And so I'm really excited about that. And please, if you have any questions, comments, or snarks, keep them pithy, nice and short. You can email them indievoltlive@indievolt.com. Please include Indievolt Live in the subject and keep them to 90 words or less. Nice, short, and sweet.
Except Tyler, he can't write in.
None of those pre-internet beefs coming in over the emails. You can listen to absurdity content like this and more with the Streama app, or you can go to Google Play. And, of course, you can stream it live on indievolt.com. Roku channel, if you've got one of those little purple and black boxes, you can get the Indievolt TV radio channel or Roku channel. Lots of great content on there, some independent wrestling, independent movies, and a little documentary short about the Dreaded Dinosaur Man mural I had up for a little while downtown in Detroit.
The icon does look different, though. It does say Indievolt TV, but it has our mascot, Vicky, on it as well now.
Well, until then, enjoy these outdated graphics. All right. Anyway, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we appreciate each and every one of you that are here. And we'll do it again.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us.